First thing I want to say, Mark, is like I said earlier, I'm really honored to have you on the show, man. I'm really interested in talking with you.
Great. Good to be here with you, Brother John.
I appreciate you taking the time too.
Yeah, man.
Hey, I wanted to start with giving you congratulations. I know this is it's a little late on the new album, closer to my home, but it really is an excellent listen. And
Thank you.
first new album since 2006. And I can honestly say that's quite a comeback because it's
Eh,
an excellent album.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It was a long time in the making, but it just had to get the right people in the mix. And Mark Slaughter kind of brought it all together. I had been thinking about it for a while, what am I going to do with this music and how am I going to do it? Because the music industry, of course, has changed, dude, since I started back in 19.
For sure.
So yeah, the all the markers lined up and the thing got released. Thank God.
Yeah, it's really a great album. You talk about Mark Slaughter and the production of this. But I think what I like the best about it is it's great to hear a classic artist do something, in these days and make it sound so fresh, but yet it still has, that signature sound that you have.
All right, thank you. Yeah, it's who I am, and it's like Slaughter and I were talking, and people, they hand you a guitar and they try this amplifier out, and so no matter what amplifier it is, John,
Right.
you're going to sound like you on that. You're going to dial it in like nobody else can dial it in. And you
Sure.
you are expecting you'll settle for nothing less than, your guitar sound. So that's part of the nature of the character that people are listening to, but there is an image of a character and it's in that guitar sound. And people have recognized it over the years. And I think that, with all of the fancy stuff that you can do electronically, I think it's funky. Man, if you hit a little clam in there, leave the clam alone. It's being
Right.
real. It's
That's
being
right.
real. And that's, missing in most of today's music or what they're releasing and calling music.
Well, you couldn't have put that any better. It's the truth too. And what I like about this again, it's definitely as advertised. We talk about, the track anymore, and I get that positive, uplifting, sound there. But there's so many, elements in this and how deep it is. Um, two of my favorites are Façade, and I really love Oh Darlin.
All right.
Excellent song, really it is. Um, and what I like too is growing up, this is what my parents listened to, obviously Grand Funk, and I think of, Dave Mason and England Dan and John Ford Coley. I really like, stuff like that. But
Yeah.
the vibe of this, it like you said earlier, it brings back a little piece of a better time.
Yeah. And another thing about this, I think the major point with this to any musician that hears or anybody that is a music lover, any person that's into it for like I'm listening to you talk and I know that you're way deeper lot of people as far as, what you're listening for and what you're listening to. But in 1953, Rockefeller changed the tuning standard from A432 to A440. Well, since I'm old school, I went back to 432 because it is a natural frequency. People now are discovering things about the solfeggio scale and what the frequency 432 how it helps people to sleep, how it, you know, it sets them up. It's a natural frequency. Um, and to give a word picture, um, a guy sent me a link and he says, uh, watch this and then they call me. It's a friend of mine from San Diego, Navy SEAL. And he says, I want you to hear this and then, we'll talk. So I watched this link and it's a guy who's got like a 15-inch speaker, an enclosed 15 on his deck, right up next to his kiddie pool, about a 6-foot diameter little kiddie pool,
Okay.
and he puts that speaker up next to it. He's got a tone generator and an amplifier. He plays A2 in the 440 scale, the tuning standard now since 1953. In
Right.
in 440 at 125 decibels, that pool was a storm. It was waves and froth and foam and bubbles, and it was just it was jumping up and down like it had legs on it.
Right. Right. Right.
It was, yeah. Well, the threshold of pain is 90 decibels, so 125 is just kicking the hell out of it.
For sure.
Then he shuts it down. He shows how he goes to tunes it to 432, which is the original American tuning standard. 432, A2, 125 decibels, and Brother John, it is flat like a piece of glass, just laying there, and I'm going, whoa,
That's cool.
what am I seeing? What am I
Right.
more than seeing? What am I realizing here?
For
Because it
sure.
showed me something very significant about 440 and the purpose 440. Why would you beat the shit out of somebody uh,
Right. That's right.
that rather than laying your loving music into their hearts with that just penetrates? Because you know what, our bodies are more than 70% water. So
That's right.
you're part kiddie pool, buddy.
That's right.
And so this is the way I saw it, man. And
Right.
so ever since, and I called him and he had me tune my acoustic guitar to 432. Dude, oh, I love
Big
it.
difference.
Oh my God. I love acoustic instruments. My guitar, I got a Taylor C 616 CE, and it's a beautiful tone, wonderful American made. It's a wonderful flat top. Well, when I turned it to 432, I tuned it in. It was like, and I was sitting in my kitchen, and as it's coming in to tune, because my little headstock tuner, if it's red, it's sharp. If it's yellow, it's flat. And if it's green, you're right on. So as it's coming into
Nice.
the green, I'm hearing this whistle over the top of the string that I'm tuning. Then, so I go to the next one and as I'm coming into the green, man, what is this I'm hearing? It's like it doesn't happen in 440 because it's not there. There is a
Right.
harmonic, a natural harmonic. It's not louder, brother. It is more because of
Robust.
yeah, man,
Yeah.
because of those harmonics that you don't hear when you're in 440, only in 432. There is, man, I just love to sit and play my acoustic now. And this whole
Nice.
album that we're talking about, Closer to My Home, everything is 432. My live show has been in 432 for 20 over 20 years. And
Nice.
I'm not going back. I'm old school. I'm staying with what is proven to be lovely, wonderful tuning standard. Why the hell they switched? That's up to the individual. But
That's right.
I think it was sinister. My own self, you know.
For sure.
Yeah.
You know, you when you say that too, I mean, you could really hear that, not only in this new album, but everything that you've done, over the years. There's that, that peace, that I don't even know how to even to describe it, the tranquility. Even in the faster, songs, the more, it's just, like you said, it comes from that artist, it comes from the heart, it comes from that passion, the soul, and that's really what translates here.
Amen. Yeah, man. And I am who my songs say I am. That's my quote. That's me saying
Right.
because there's a band that goes out and as Grand Funk Railroad, and I'm not in that band, and people are saying, well, they're doing that band is doing all because they don't know until they go see that band that I'm not in it, and some people still think I am in it. It's been so many years.
Right.
He looks like that now, but the, there's only one person that sounds like that, and it's me. I am who my songs say I am. No one
That's
else,
right.
no one else is. No one else comes close. Just like I'm not, who John Fogerty's songs say he is. And even if I sang one as a tribute to that brother, it
That's
ain't going
right.
to come close to the expression of the soul that God put in that boy. And God put this soul in me. And people hear it because I've always cried out from my heart. I am truthful in my plea and my quest for love, man. I want there to be love. I want there to be a song to change the world from a war machine to a love machine.
That's right. That's right. It's good to hear that because there's so much, negativity out there and everything. I mean, and when you take an art like music is, which I feel is the greatest art ever created. I mean, because everybody relates to it.
Huh?
There's no doubt.
Yeah, man. I'm with you.
Yeah, we're all for that. And I agree with you. I think that's why, I love the music that you do so much and have like since I was a kid, because you grow up and you have that piece with you and you remember it,
Yeah.
the whole way through. And that means a lot. That says a lot to you about you as an artist. No
Well,
doubt.
that's very encouraging to me as an artist too, Brother John. And I appreciate you being able to utter that from the truth of your heart.
That's the truth. That's why I do this, and that's why I love to be able to hear the stories of the artist because that means so much. It makes
Yeah,
you a better listener,
yeah, man.
no doubt.
Great.
Y- You know, with such a brilliant history, from the early days of Grand Funk all the way up through, you know, what is it like now when you go into, say this album and that, into the studio, into the recording process? Is there what's the expectation level? From an artist like you? I mean, is it something you go in and say, man, I need to really try to outdo this? Or is it just something you go in and just say, look, I'm just going to do what I do?
Yeah, that's me. The latter part. I'm not trying to outdo anything. I think the music that of the past that I, was blessed to be on all those albums and blessed to write over 90% of the music in the Grand Funk catalog. I want it to be what it is when it was that. I get up on stage and I play it, and I have already prayed to God with the rest of the band, man, that we are able to use this music to help people go back to a better time, to a happier time, to a time when they first heard this music. And being 55 years old, closer to my home, holy crap, man. I mean, we go back a long way. So
Right,
uh, that that is the ambition. And without, you know, back then we didn't have any click tracks, right?
right,
You played to the drummer. The drummer,
right.
when he'd get excited, he'd rush it. And sometimes when a drummer does a fill, they tend to speed up because they're so psyched on it they'll get to one before anybody else does. You know,
That's right.
oh man, there's a big difference. But I love that. And listening to the old music, uh, it's real. It's human. It was humans cutting. There was no click track. There was no digital influence. There was no voice correction. There was none of that crap.
Right.
It was more robust from the soul. And as music has over the years, they call it progressed, but I think it has regressed
I
because
agree.
of all of these tools that music, producers and engineers and what they're using to do pitch correction on a vocal, or what they're using to humanize. They'll cut something and they'll go, "Oh, it's too just right on. We need to humanize it." So there's a humanize button, but it's digital humanization.
Right.
Human,
Not the real thing.
no, yeah. So yeah, man, big difference between music then, brother, and what we're listening to now. But love is the same. The love is never going to stop. The love speaks out. If there's somebody using the tool, using uh, the talent, the God-given talent, brother,
Right.
uh, it, it's gonna it's gonna come out. I'm absolutely sure of that. But there's so
No
many
doubt.
who counterfeit, so many who attempt to do things, and they can put on a show. They can eat bats' heads. They can do, they can do crap on the stage. It's total theatrical performance without the benefit of being able to really play the instrument or sing the part. It's just
Right.
a lot of pyro bands that do that. It's it's what it is. I think
Right.
my for my own personal taste, man, sitting back and watching somebody appreciating, because I'm a musician, I know what's going through their mind. I can, you know, appreciate that more because it is without the outside influence. It is without the theatrics to rev everybody up into this. Eh, I don't know. Maybe people
Right.
gotta have their hair catch on fire from the fireworks or something. I don't know what it is. They need a thrill.
That's right. You never know what they're looking to do
Yeah, man.
or looking to feel. You wrote so many, great songs, in your history. And what I'm always curious about is how does Mark Farner write a song? I mean, what's the process? Is it something that you've done over the years where you say, "Hey, I have the hook," or is it the chorus that does it? Tell us about how you write a song, 'cause I'm always interested in hearing that.
Well, it's sometimes, it's the groove. You come up with a chord progression that that sounds good from change to change, and you might throw something, might throw a left in there so that it takes people even further away from it before you come back to that hook, before you come back to the chorus that everybody wants to sing on. And hopefully, uh, that's what you're doing, because I like it when people sing the songs. Dude, when I go to South America and I'm singing Heartbreaker, they are
Right?
singing it louder than the PA is capable of putting it out. I'm
That's
telling you.
great.
Oh my
That's great.
God. Yes, it's wonderful. And so to write, uh it's sometimes the jam, and then it triggers, because of the way it makes you feel, it triggers a thought. Maybe something that's been on your mind. In my case, I think about things, different things all day long. How can I make this world better before I have to check out, before I have to leave this bone suit? How can I make it a better place?
Right.
How can I leave some love behind? What kind of song can I leave to wake people up, man, to slap their head with some love, you know, uh, bring them out of the slumber, bring them out of the lost spaces that their mind is existing in because of the distractions and all of the media that's owned by the enemy. I'm telling you, mainstream. This next release, um, is going to be, I think it's going to be one of those things that does that, one of those songs that'll grab somebody because I'm releasing Same Game next, John. And
Right.
I have a video for it. And the video's pictorial for our times and for, you know, where our heads are at collectively.
Right.
So uh, that's what my ambition is to, you know, do something constructive, but to give the love. God gave me this talent, and I want to give God the increase on the investment He made in me. And the best way I can do
Mm,
that is to give the love. And it is a spiritual embarkation. You know, it's not something, a token that you can hand to somebody. It's not something, a letter that you can write to somebody. This
mm,
is, you know, it's um, especially in a live audience situation. It's it's something that is emotional, and we have to have that emotion and the trust in that person that's bringing that music to allow myself to come to that level of emotional outlet, of emotional connection. You know, when
mhm.
we're like this, brother, oh, it's good. It's good,
For
man.
sure.
It's good. And we're doing something, man. We're going forward. I think with the frequency and the way we pray before we go on, we're all a bunch of cussing Christians. You know, we ain't
Right.
superstitious in the least. And
Right.
I think my own humble opinion is the modern day church is really stumbling along, man. It's to blame for a lot of the wrong that we see out there. Jesus kicked the money changers out of the church,
For
kicked,
sure.
kicked them out, put them out physically, said, "You turned my father's house into a den of thieves." And the modern day church functions under a 501c3 tax exempt status that was given to them by the Infernal Revenue Service. The
For
money,
sure.
so they gave, the modern day church gives the authority over their ministry to the ones that Jesus kicked their asses out of the church.
It's crazy.
Is there
It is
any
crazy.
is there anything good about that? No, there isn't.
Nope.
I'll tell you. And all we can look and hope to achieve is maybe some of this music, maybe my music, because I've been in that arena. I've been in that situation. I went through the whole church thing. I had to. I reckon that's the way I reasoned it out. You know, I said, well, God, you know, now I know for sure about this and wolves in sheep's clothing. Oh man, golly, do I know? So
Yep.
that experience, maybe coming from my honest heart and my lips that want to sing in a word, in a language that breaks through the bullshit and goes right straight to the understanding of that person. That's where, you know, that's where I belong. That's where my heart and my soul and my head and my intention is all coming in that way. That's the only thing that's going to change this planet and change the way things are going. And they ain't going so cool.
No, not at all. It's great to hear that perspective too. When we look at things like that, like you said, and you talked about, having everybody in that setting, that arena, and how you project that. And when I think of that, I think of something that I've listened to multiple times, and it was the show at Shea Stadium in 1971. And I know you hear a lot about that, and there's questions, come out. But when you look at that, on YouTube, you get a chance to look at it. So everybody out there that's listening, get a chance to listen to this. It's I can't even believe, when you listen to that, it feels like you're there. But you guys were, I mean, on point. It was like you had that vision and it was all tied in together. Tell us about that experience, because we as listeners, what does that come like? What's it like from an artist perspective to see that and to feel that emotion?
Well, in the first place, we had finished our European tour, and Humble Pie was opening our European tour, opening our shows there, and they were really doing a great job. Man, Steve Marriott and Frampton, Jerry Shirley, those guys, um, they're that unit, they had it down, and we listened to they had a boom box in their dressing room, and they're playing all this Motown, and they're playing some R&B, and I'm going, this is how they warm up. Yeah, man, I like these guys.
That's
And so
cool.
I told Terry Knight, I said, we need to have these guys open our US tour. He says, well, I'll see if D'Anthony, it was their manager, he says, I'll see if D'Anthony, wants to do that. I think it'd be a great idea. So anyway, they end up opening our US tour. And this is their first date at Shea Stadium.
Wow.
Second second base, man. That's where the front of the stage was, right at second base. And Shea Stadium was a half circle. So the focal point of that half circle was second base, dude, man. I swear to God. Those people, when they were singing, it was, it bypassed the ears and went to the soul. It went
Yep.
to the spirit. And it was very uplifting. I thinking back on it, and I'm getting the goosebumps right now, dude, right now,
That's cool. That is
because
cool.
as I went across that stage, it felt like, are my feet really touching this stage?
Yeah, floating for sure.
Yeah, I'm floating along. I'm light as air. I'm high on the fans' appreciation. We never smoked or drank before we went on stage. After I think it was 1969 in Honolulu, at the auditorium there, somebody had some Maui Wowie and and they passed it up on stage, and Brewer's doing his drum solo, and I look over behind Mel's amp. We went behind our amplifiers. We're taking a Slurpee or whatever to take it. I look and I see this red glow, and I look closer, and he's going, like I said, hey, I holler over to him. I said, send some of that over here. So I take like one hit of this stuff, and we go back out to finish the show, and Melvin and I are out front. We've got our guitars. We're crossing necks, rubbing the strings on the other one. I'm just going, it's just going crazy. The song ends, but Mel and I don't know it's over. Brewer
Right.
ends the song. We're supposed to quit, and him and Mel and I are like looking back, looking out at the audience, going, "Oh shit, am I messed up? Am I messed up?" So, so that was the one gig that cured us of ever doing that again.
Right.
At Shea Stadium, straight. Uh, that's the way I need to go on stage. I have loved being able to give everything in a straight, you know, unspoiled performance for the fans. And
Right.
the first thing alcohol affects, and it affects 100% of the people 100% of the time. So there's no getting around this. It affects your judgment.
For sure.
Ask the Native Americans who signed things they didn't even know. They didn't know what the hell it was. They were under the influence. Their judgment was messed up, and it got used for that purpose. So at Shea Stadium, man, they got the straight goods, uh, an honest performance. I sweat my ass off. I remember that performance, and I loved every drop that made it to my shoes on the inside. Yes, I was soaking wet at the end of
That's
that
cool.
performance.
That's
Give,
really cool to hear.
yeah, man. Thank you.
I mean, really, you know, we talk about the early days, when Grand Funk, they got together. Tell us about some of that early start, when you guys got together. I mean, obviously I'm your captain and we're an American band. Everybody knows that one. But these songs, they stand the test of time. When you guys started back then, how did that feel, when you formed? And then you look at it nowadays and listen to these songs and say, wow, I remember doing this, and to know that, people listen to this music and they know it. They know it's you. And that has to make you feel great inside, to know that you've made a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I let me just preface this by my dad was a World War II veteran. He was a tank driver in the 7th Armored Division. My mother was the first woman in the United States to weld on Sherman tanks at Fisher Body in Flint, Michigan.
Uh,
So uh, I came out of this musical family because every Sunday, my dad died when I was 9. He was a city fireman when he came back, and he came back from War II with 4 Bronze Stars. He was in 4 major battles, and a lot of tank drivers didn't get to see the second one. So my
Oh,
dad was blessed. And we had a jam session every Sunday at our house, the old farmhouse that my great granddad built, 11-room farmhouse, or at my Aunt Dorothy's. It was one or the other, but we always had a Sunday jam session. So um, that was part of who I became. 4 years old. I'm, 3, 4 years old. I'm looking at all these grown-ups with their instruments. And I mean, just this little kid looking up there at the big grown-ups with the fiddle, grandpa doing the fiddle, and Uncle Woody doing the banjo, and Uncle Brian doing guitar, my dad doing guitar, blowing saxophone, the women singing. Just a wonderful time. There wasn't any booze. There was food. There was food. And that's all there was, that we had this communion of food and music, dude. So that became a part of my heart. And I think that when I prayed at 9 years old, I walked out of the dining room and I walked into the living room. My dad had just purchased our first television set just before he died. Uh, in fact, we only had it a week, and he died. So I
mm,
walked out of the dining room where family members were consoling my mother. They were just trying to give her some love and some, brings. They had a lot of Kleenex, you know.
for sure.
But I walk in there, and Billy Graham is on the television set, and he's at Atwood Stadium in Flint, Michigan. He's doing this, big hoedown there, and I mean, it was full. The stadium was full of people, and very compelling. As I walk in, Billy Graham says, "Do you need a touch from God?" And I go, I look over, and I said, "Is he talking to me?" He said, "Do you do you need a change in your life? Do you need some love?" And I'm going, "Damn, he can see me." You
Right.
know? So come over here and put your hand on the television set. And dude, at that time, I just walked right over there and I put my 9-year-old hand on that television set. Um, and I prayed with him to receive Jesus Christ as my Lord and my Savior, man. And that was a change in my life, a big change in my life, because I actually, even to this day, recall the spirit that came over me,
Right.
this peace that even in the midst of all the crying and everybody trying to calm my mother down and trying to console her, that this peace came into me. Then I became this rock star, then I'm writing music. But that peace that came into me, I left it. It never left me. So
Right.
that is a foundation, Brother John. I have written many songs, a couple of hundred songs. I mean, I've written a lot of songs.
Right.
The process is to, whether it's encouraged by chords that I put together, or, what out on a tractor, uh, at 4 grand, that motor's going, and it's,
Right.
and I'm singing with it. I'm harmonizing with that 4 grand, and I'm, you know,
Right.
at the going around cutting hay and jumping off of the tractor and running up into the barn and writing the first verse, go back and a few more times around, jump off and go write the second verse. That's part of the process of some of the songs that I've written. And
Right.
but it is all playing off of the life force that God puts in us, each one of us. Yeah, we can be persuaded intellectually to believe otherwise. Uh, we can be lied to, but Satan is the father of every lie. It's not a good thing. Lies are not good, man.
No,
So
they're not.
the honesty uh, has to come with the presentation of my music, or it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be something that people can, and as you have so eloquently spoken about what people get and how they can tell, oh, that's them. That's, they can hear my voice, or they can hear the tone of the music. They can hear what the spirit is doing, leaving the imprint within their heart and their soul. And that, I can only say, is because I gave it up, man, when my dad died, and the Lord came to me. Love, God is love, and love is
Sure.
defined with one word. You can define love with the word forgiveness. Boom. Because if you can forgive, you can love. If you
No
can,
doubt.
yeah, man, if you could forgive yourself, then you can forgive others. But you got to be able to do that. And that's
That's
where
right.
love lives. And in the music, brother, the truth of that comes out in various words, in various phrases, in various guitar lines, in various drum licks and bass lines. But it's the truth of that love that reaches the hearts of people, that give them that hope, to give them that promise that's such a special, it has a stamp on it, man, that's indelible, and it goes right straight to your who you are, the seed of your being.
No doubt. And it does. I mean, it touches you every time you tie life events back to it. You tie good times, and you change the bad times with it. And it just, it encompasses it all. You're exactly right. No doubt. No doubt about it.
Right
You know,
on.
you talk about some of the things that you had experience, life-wise, and you had that a tragic incident that changed your life, and the brush with death, and the seeing the afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about that experience, and how it changed you, and because it ties into your music, like I said, the emotion, and you can feel so many elements of that, and the depth, and it makes us, through you, appreciate our lives even more when you hear that.
I appreciate you saying that, brother. And I think that, the same way, very much the same way that people, because I myself have come to different levels of consciousness through the testimony of another person who's lived it. And excuse me, I'll put my lipstick on.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
But the having that close brush with death, and having, exited the bone suit, my spirit had left this thing. And it was the most relief that and it is, of course, the ultimate relief of something that I did not realize was accumulating and building up within me. And that is debt consciousness, DEBT. That four-letter word is the most foul four-letter word in any language. The inception and the conception by other people of an indebtedness, a state of indebtedness, is first of all imaginary. And our imaginations, we become not just financial debt. Financial debt is, of course, it's part of it, because we have to have this foundation of, oh, I need more money to pay the rent, to pay the mortgage, to pay the car payment, to pay the kids' tuition. It goes on and on and on. We need to have, but that debt, let's set that debt aside, because that is something that everybody understands. Now, when I left the bone suit, when I left out and had that relief, it was of this debt consciousness that comes from the unfulfilled expectations of other people upon me. Just like I'm sure you have, and anyone else that's listening to this, watching this, they have experienced somebody putting them on the shit list because they didn't fulfill what that person expected of them. And especially if it's a family member, because then you might get a call from another family member that goes, "Hey man, what's up with this?" And you going, "Hey, wait a minute, how did you hear about this?" It's like,
Right.
right? So
No doubt. That's right.
there is that element that of indebtedness, and you can be in a very comfortable place in your life. Then this indebtedness, this debt consciousness comes along, and now you've lost your place of comfort. That's what the purpose of it is. I tell you, it is sinister. Debt conscious is sinister. It's a lie. It really is. It's a lie, because all of it is imaginary. Every bit of it. There is not one point of indebtedness that you can pick it out, look at it, hold it up to the light, take a telescope, take a periscope, take a microscope, look. You can't. It's all your imagination and what we have been prompted to believe by those who lived the life prior to us even getting here, and then it got on us when it was like, when you were questioning what your parent was telling you to do, and you said, "Well, why have I got it?" "Because I said so." And you learned that if you did not respond to that "I said so," then there might be a willow switch. or a razor strap, or
Right.
a horse buggy switch that come across the back of your behind side and
Right.
you con- would convince you to accept this indebtedness.
Regardless, that's it.
That's right, brother. So, so we have this uh, indebtedness that has accumulated because its nature is to keep stacking one on top of the each indebted experience, but it's back there. It's not in random access memory. It's on the read-only memory back there, but it's piling up, and it's becoming a weight, and you can see it on people. This debt consciousness. So this debt consciousness weighs and weighs and weighs and weighs and weighs. And man, when I died, it was boom, and I'm going, wow. I don't know what that was, but thank you. I don't want it back. I don't want it back. And this was, I didn't really realize until the second reentry into this bone suit exactly what it was that the Lord was trying to get through to me. But that second reentry, I got it, man. I got it. And my wife says, you got it too good. If I'm so sensitive towards, and I'm tuned in to people who have this line of bullshit they're trying to hook you with, that I just go, no, get away from me, man. I know where that's going. You're wasting
It's
my
great.
time. You are wasting my time. But what I've learned, brother, is I had to forgive myself. I had to identify and define what the hell that was. What was bothering me so bad? And when I
Right.
finally saw that and finally put it together, then I'm able to speak it. I'm able to speak it to you. But by speaking this to you, Brother John, others are listening. Others are very familiar with these feelings that we all have. This
Right. We all do.
indebtedness. But we are the only ones who can set ourselves free. But we can do it on this side. We don't have to wait till we're out of the bone suit. That's what Jesus is all about. That's what forgiveness is all about. And that's what is missing in the world, man, is the peace that passes understanding comes from that love, that forgiveness, and identifying that it's all bullshit. It is all make believe. And this thing that moves, this instrument, this weapon that was formed against us, it if we stand together, it can't prosper. If we'll get together in
That's
groups,
right.
large groups of millions of people who will not accept the indebtedness that the insaniacs want to inflict upon us and run this world into the ground,
Right.
then we'll have something to stand by, stand for, and to proudly stand and grow in that as the numbers grow. We are the People's Army of planet Earth. TPAOPE, the People's Army of planet Earth.
I mean, not only a great story, but you know, it's amazing. Exactly right too, because you never think of that. You never think that way, but to understand that
Yeah,
is relief. I mean, it's
yeah,
relief to the soul.
yeah, brother.
No doubt about it. Mark, I really appreciate, you coming on here. I mean, it was great to talk with you.
Yeah,
Um,
thank
and I wanted to ask, when you look back at this, amazing career that you've had, you know, um, I know I'm sure you get this all the time, but what what is one of the things that stands out that you're most proud of? I'm sure that there's a lot of it. We talked about a lot of things too, but you know, something that you really say, boy, I really am proud of this when I look back.
Well, having received the Cherokee Medal of Honor in 2004 was a big, man, it was a big day because it was so sincere and so many people. I mean, I didn't know that Crystal Gale was Cherokee. I didn't know Tommy Lee Jones was Cherokee or
No.
Earl Jones. James Earl Jones. They all received
Wow.
Cherokee Medals of Honor as well in their days. And so for me to go to Tahlequah, Oklahoma, and to receive that Medal of Honor with other tribe members that were just loving. God, I remember the hugs. I remember the souls uh, rejoicing uh, over just being together, just being
Right.
able to show that love, to not only speak it to, but to soak it up, and the expression taking over each individual's face. Yeah, we are here. This is what we're here for. This is wonderful. Let's not let this party end. Yeah, let's keep this one going. That's I was very proud of that, and very proud to receive from the Sioux elders um the prayer quilt that they gave me, because it's an honor. It's an honor thing.
Right.
And so both from indigenous people, the first people who
Right.
I I honor and I hold the values of those nations, those first people high. Um, and if I was ever made the president, first thing I'd do is apologize to all of the indigenous tribes.
For
Sorry,
sure.
sorry for yanking your kids out of your homes and putting them through the embarrassment of changing them into a civilized person. My God,
Right.
you know. Uh,
It's a shame.
yeah,
It really is.
but we can change that with the perspective of love. That's the only way I can live with it and have hope, is to be able to give this love that lives in my heart and through my music, and to change the world, get it out of the hands of these no good scum sucking pig dogs that are running the show. And
Amen to that.
yeah, man.
No doubt. You know, like I said, it's been an honor for me to, to talk with you,
Thank
to hear those stories and how about anything that's coming up for Mark Farner? What's on the horizon for the rest of 2025 and into 2026?
Well, hey, I'm going to play at the Cherokee Casino.
Nice. There you go.
Yeah, I'm going to go play at the Cherokee Casino,
That's
and
great.
playing in Des Plaines, Illinois, at the Des Plaines Theater. I love that place. And I'm going to South America, doing some. I think we got 10 or 11 shows lined up down there. Rio de Janeiro, we're going back. It's and then and doing. I think we're doing one in Peru as well, and we always do Teatro Caupolicán in Chile, Santiago,
Nice.
Chile. Uh, Always do that. Then the people, man, the love just pours out. The love pours out. And I think
Fantastic.
I think because, you got to remember, nobody else is playing in 4-3-2. This band shows up, there's going to be something different. It's a slight, just a, if you played, this song and at 440, and then you played it at 4-3-2, first you played in 440, you shut it off, and you start it in 432. You could hardly, I mean, you'd have to have a musical ear to absolutely notice a difference. But when you play the entire set and you are in 432, that's, the love is coming without the boxing gloves on. It's reaching in to the
Right.
spirit with the spirit. Uh, that's what happens when we play in South America. People love it. They respond very much in the spirit of things, and they know because I've done lots of interviews down there. They know where my heart is, and they know
It's great.
it's going to be me. I am who my songs say I am.
That's great to hear it. That's great to hear it. Well, in closing, I want to say, thank you for joining Talking to Fast Lane and
Yeah,
and taking that time with me. And I also want to say thank you for doing what you do. I mean, from my heart, from, my fan base and the people that, that enjoy this music. Thank you for making that dedication and that commitment because it changes the world and I'm totally grateful that guys like you do what you do.
I appreciate it, brother.
Truthfully. Truthfully.
All the
All right.
band, God bless. Only you can set yourself free. Only you.
No doubt about it. All right, Mark, best of luck with everything. And I'd like to have you on again. Anything you have coming up, new album, new things, and you have an open invite here, man.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that, and I'll take you up on it.
Thanks, Mark.
All right, buddy.
Have a good day. Thank you.
Bye for